we've got your English map. From Kingston to Tokyo, Kingston to Beijing, we'll guide you through the words, we'll make your heart sing. One love, one language, we're dancing to the beat, teaching English online. We can't be discreet, from verbs to nouns, from idioms to rhyme. Learning English is a journey, it's a global good time. I'm an online teacher getting students worldwide with my reggae rhythm. Gonna take them for a ride, from the Caribbean beaches to the African plains. Teaching English online, breaking language chains. Teaching English online, come on and join the class. We're gonna have a blast, make the good times last, with the reggae rhythm pumping and the vibe feeling right. Teaching English online, spread the law online, let's spread the law time. Breaking language rampant and the vibe feeling right. Teaching English online, let's spread the love tonight. Spread the love tonight. Let's spread the love tonight. We heart sing. One love, one language, we're dancing to the beat, teaching English online. We can't be discreet, from verbs to nouns, from idioms to rhyme. Learning English is a journey, it's a global good time. I'm an online teacher getting students worldwide with my reggae rhythm. Gonna take them for a ride, from the Caribbean beaches to the African plains. Teaching English online, breaking language chains. Teaching English online, breaking language chains. Yes. Teaching English online, respect the lump sum on, join the class. We're gonna have a blast, make the good times last, with the reggae rhythm pumping and the vibe feeling right. Teaching English online, let's spread the love tonight.
What is that? Well, okay, let me see. Here we go. That's, mistake of the life sometimes. All right, thank you everyone to the early birds today. We're going to be right here helping you with your classes, especially your online classes, because sometimes it's really difficult to find students online. And today we're going to have a special guest helping you. Katy Prescott is going to be here with us, and of course, too, my co host. So let's roll. Here we go with a little bit of After the Good Reggae, putting you a smile on your face and help you with your online classes. Let's go with a little bit of rock and roll, baby. Here we go. welcome everyone. It's Sunday night, 9 p.m. Beijing time. 欢迎大家，感谢来到直播间。今天我说中文那是有原因的。Oh, all right, I'm speaking Chinese today. I never started with Chinese, but today I had to because we're gonna be able to share the experience of someone who went to classroom, like face-to-face classroom, in classroom, uh, right to online classes. She's going to tell us her story tonight. Thank you very much for being here and saying a little hello to all the people right here. Here we go with Tinatia Wallace. Welcome, Tinatia. Sunday morning. Yes, maybe if you are in South America, should be in the morning for you, 9 p.m., or even North America, in Europe, might be right after lunch. So grab coffee or maybe a tea, and we're going to have some fun for sure. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We got Super Teacher in the house. Yo, hello, Mike and Ketty. So exciting for this live. Thank you so much. Very welcome to all of you. Feel free to leave your message in the chat. We'll be happy to help you. Tonight is going to be about how to attract students to your online independent classes. Well, if you have your online tutorial startup, might be difficult sometimes to find kids, but I think Ketty's got good suggestions to help you, and especially when starting from scratches. So we're not gonna wait today, and let's welcome my dear and your dear host, Stu from Tefl Lemon.
And now let's welcome the co-host of the ESL LiveStream, Stuart Allen from Tefl Lemon.
Wow, how many Stu we got tonight? All right, I think it's gonna make double noise, double microphones, so it's gonna be like what? Thank you, Stu.
Are we?
Yeah, your sound is a little bit like wow. All right, he's gone right away. Okay, so yeah, that's live. Lives always happen like that. Maybe microphone stuff. You never know what happened. Thank you, everyone. We're not gonna wait anymore, and let's welcome our dear Ketty. Ketty is an entrepreneur in online classes. She's doing online teaching courses for students from all around the world. And she went, well, I'm not going to say too much. Just let's welcome her. Here we go.
And now let's welcome Katie Prescott from Abridge Academy.
Welcome, Ketty. Thank you so much for being
Hi there, Mike. Thanks so much for having
live.
me. And I'm loving all the music and sound effects on this. It's awesome.
Yeah, just put it a little bit of rhythm. It's Sunday night. People tomorrow's got to go to work. Well, even if it's Sunday morning, you still have the whole day, but got to be like a bit of being active. And thank you so much. It's a great pleasure to have you with us. And Stu might be on. Here we go.
Am I sounding normal now?
Yes, brother. Awesome.
I just had a duplicate tab open or something, which wasn't on mute. But anyway, sorry about that, guys. Hopefully we'll be back to normal. Welcome, Katie. Welcome.
Hi there, Stuart. Great to
Okay,
see
no
you.
problem.
Yeah, it's going to be
You
really
know that there are buttons that you can touch before live.
Can't touch this. You can't touch this.
All right. Okay. That was the little fun. All right. Let's start to be serious. Thank you, Stu. Stu, you kindly went to Katie to say, hey, we got the live stream. And, how did you guys met each other?
Well, yeah, it was kind of all fell into place, didn't it, Katie? So, yeah, like 2 weeks ago, we had Laura on, and we were talking about how to, develop your online presence as a teacher to develop your own business. And then last week we had Bianca on, who was talking about how to set up your own academy. And then Katie followed my Lemon page, I think.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, and then so we just started chatting, and apparently Katie used to follow Lemon when you lived in China, right?
Yeah, I've been following Lemon. I can speak. English is failing me today. We've been following Lemon on WeChat for several years now, I think.
Yeah, and then
it was great to connect.
From a similar kind of place in the world, from the south of England as well. So, I reached out to Katie. Katie immediately said, "Yeah, I'm free," and here we are. So, thank you so much for coming along, Katie. We can't wait to hear about this, and lots of the people that follow the ESL live stream, they've been saying, we really want to hear from you because, yeah, having trouble with getting students. So hopefully you can help.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for inviting me, and I'm super excited to share some insights into that whole going independent, finding your own students, teaching online kind of stuff. So yeah.
Great. Katie, thank you so much for being in the live today. We've been chatting through WeChat quite long yesterday. That was really nice. Really appreciated. We have a lot in common for sure, especially you've been teaching in China. 感谢老师，今天来到直播间。I had to say a little bit of Chinese, but I guess Stu can say something too, right?
我不会，真的我。
你不会啊，我知道你不会。
好久没有说中文，所以我也都忘了。
哇！
Wow. All right. So let's switch on. Let's switch on English because they're gonna think that. Yeah, they're gonna think that who's the foreigners? They speak Chinese. I don't understand. What is that live stream? All right. So, can you please introduce yourself briefly for everyone to get to know you a little bit better? Katie, please. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Katie. I'm from Abridge Academy, which sells teaching materials and resources for online teachers, and also helps teachers who are going independent, things like finding your own students, top tips, and support with things like that. And as a bit of background, I've been teaching online for about 10 years now, actually, quite a while. Initially, it was just like a little bit of part-time bonus income here and there, as you do when you need a little extra money to pay the bills and things like that. And I did my teacher training in the UK, qualified as a teacher in the UK. I'd also taught a bit in China before, in Beijing, Shijiazhuang, Guangzhou, and a little bit in Shanghai, the short program in Shanghai. So I taught a little bit in China before. I'd studied there previously as a student as well. So I'd studied Chinese before. And then fast forward a bit, did my teacher training in the UK, taught in the UK for a bit. And then COVID happened. That whole world shut down. I was actually due to move out to China. I had a teaching job lined up there, and I was also looking to expand my business of things internationally. I had all kinds of things lined up, but obviously COVID chaos happened. Everything went online. I ended up setting up, in collaboration with a Chinese co-partner, an online tutoring agency based in China, and that started in 2020. And as I said, I was meant to be moving out to China, but because of COVID, none of that happened. I ended up sort of sitting at home being like, what do I do? How do I pay my bills? Because I'd left my UK teaching job, to go move out to China, and it all fell through. So yeah, started teaching independently and setting up this tutoring agency. I also had a job lined up in Japan, which then got delayed by like forever because of COVID. I ended up going there for a bit, taught in Japan for a year and a half, teaching ESL in Japan. And now I'm full-time working on Abridge Academy, doing teaching materials and support for online teachers. So sorry, that was a very long rambling backstory, but I've done quite a bit of sort of teaching related things over the last few years. I'm super excited to be here and share some of that with everyone.
Great.
Great.
Yeah. So I want to let me see. I'm a little bit lost with all this button everywhere. Yeah. So we obviously have a lot of questions asking about all online teaching has been very difficult for people who want to start being independent, because we know that on this market, the market is growing, that's for sure, but it's difficult for some students, some teachers, to find students. So uh, can you give us advice how to start? Maybe that would be the very first question. What would be the best start for creating his own online classes without any boss in the middle of the road, that can be really bothering sometimes. You're not that free. How to start?
That's a big question. I feel like we're gonna have a lot to
Yeah,
talk about on
that's
this topic in this session, because
true. I understand.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think when it comes to getting started, the most important thing, I think, before you do anything is to come up with a plan. I'm not saying it's a mistake as such, but the thing I see a lot of teachers doing is they jump straight in to like, oh, I've done my TEFL course. I've got some great TEFL training and things out there, but they've gone straight from doing their TEFL training and gone, okay, I'm gonna teach independently, find my own students. Is everyone saying that's the thing to do right now? You can earn a lot more teaching independently, a lot more flexibility, so much more freedom in what you do. But you need a plan, because there's so many people out there now. I think going into it without a plan, you'll end up earning $5 an hour doing conversation classes, and you'll be better off teaching with a company in that case. So I always think the first thing to do is to sit back and like evaluate what do you want to achieve with your independent teaching. What is your goal? Do you just want to have a few students? Like maybe you're a classroom teacher, right, and you want a few extra students to earn a bit of money on the side, a bit like when I first started way back. In which case you have a very different kind of plan to someone who's looking to sort of upscale their business longer term and set up a whole agency or something, right? And I've done that too. So it's sort of different kind of business plan needed. So I think first, when I say business plan in the loosest sense, it doesn't have to be a complicated, written out, 100-page document you're going to send to investors or something, but come up with a plan of what are your goals in your business, what do you enjoy teaching, and what expertise do you already have, and try and figure out a bit about what exactly you want to focus in on. For example, I've worked with teachers before who have used to be an examiner for like Cambridge or like IELTS exams or all those sort of big online English, not online, sorry, big in-person like English exams, but a lot of people are looking for online classes for. In which case it makes a lot of sense to then focus on exam prep, right? Because they've got existing expertise. Well, my case, I was a classroom teacher before. I focused primarily on, in the UK, I trained as a secondary school teacher. And I had a lot of experience kind of teaching primary school to middle school kind of ages when I was in China and in Japan. So that made sense to me to focus on like students who want to come study abroad, who are around middle school kind of ages, my kind of preferred age range, and helping them with learning the sort of academic sort of vocabulary and stuff that they need in order to move to an English medium school or to move abroad entirely. So like figure out what you enjoy teaching, where your expertise is, and what you might want to offer. So that'd be the first thing. And then try and do a bit of market research, like having got an idea of roughly what you want to do. Try and connect with your target audience, whether that's on social media or it's through platforms you talked with before, or it's on like forum sites, or however you could connect with that audience, and try and get to know a bit more about them and what actually they want, because then you can design what you're offering around exactly what your target audience wants. And in that way, you're avoiding just being a generic, oh, I'm an online teacher, I teach English. And you can start to find a little bit more expertise and build a bit more rapport with potential students. A bit rambling, but hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of where to start with and try and put together a bit of a plan before you start.
Right, exactly. True. You wanted to go.
Yeah, no,
We
it's
don't
okay.
forget
No,
to
it's
put the
okay.
one.
It's like no, I was just waiting to see if you want to say something quickly. It can be really tough because I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, and he's an online teacher. He's living in London, and he just broke down for me the reality for lots of online teachers. So he said basically he's using Preply as a company, and he said that basically they take a huge percentage of his earnings. He said that's one that's one problem that he has. So like, yes, they'll find you students, but they charge you for it like a lot of money. And he said another problem that he has is that he might be up against teachers who aren't from the US or from the UK, that live, in Asia or whatever, where it's cheaper. And lots of these teachers are charging like $3 per hour. And lots of these people learning English, they don't have a lot of money themselves, so they're choosing those teachers who are charging $3 an hour, and it's just not getting any work. So yeah, by finding your own students, this is, you're overcoming two problems, right? You're not having to use these companies, and also you're not facing this competition that the platforms have. But how to do it? How would you find your own students? How do you go about beginning? Let's say you're on Facebook or whatever, and you join online teaching groups. How do you touch those, get the parents to, how do you do it?
I think the first thing to do is not bother joining the online teaching groups if you want to find students in the group, because the online teaching groups are full of teachers, right? So first think about where your audience is. And it doesn't have to be on social media. I think this is the biggest thing that teachers jump to is straight away, I want to teach online, find my own students. What social media app do they use? And that's one approach, but it does take a lot of time to build an audience and connect with people on social media, because you're still kind of competing with everyone else on that social media platform. So actually, I personally would recommend first start out by looking at your own contacts. Like if I think about my own experience getting started teaching independently, 10 years back when I found my very first independent student, and it was actually for teaching maths, it wasn't even for teaching English. I was still a student myself actually at the time. I was still at university. And it was through a previous teacher who I had volunteered in her class. And then she happened to move to the same city as me that I'd gone for university to teach in a secondary school, sixth form actually, like high school. Sorry, British terms. Sixth form is like high school for anyone who's not British. And one of her students needed some tutoring. So she sent me a message being like, hey, Katie, do you offer some tutoring? Like this kid could be someone you could help. So that just came through a personal connection. And then similarly, much more recently, some people might be aware there were a lot of changes in the Chinese market in summer 2021. The government brought out new regulations, and that basically knocked out a bunch of the online ESL companies that were based in China. And at that point, my Chinese teacher reached out to me, and I've been taking Chinese classes. This was actually in preparation for supposedly moving to China again, which then didn't happen. But I've been taking online classes with a Chinese university, just sort of brushing up on my Chinese and all that kind of thing. And my teacher reached out to me and said, oh, I've got a couple of friends who all their English classes have been cancelled because the company they had classes with got shut down. Do you offer English classes? And I was like, oh, yeah, I do actually. Like, I hadn't even mentioned it to my Chinese teacher. And she reached out to me anyway and was like, do you offer classes? And of course, I was already teaching at this point. So it made a lot of sense. So first start with those personal connections. It could be people you know who've worked abroad, or if you take language classes yourself, like your language teacher for Spanish or whatever probably knows other people who are Spanish speakers who want to learn English. Reach out to these people in an authentic way. Don't just randomly spam message people, but if they're friends with you or they're people you've worked with, just drop them a message saying, hey, I'm offering English classes. Do you have any friends who might be interested? Or maybe they've got kids, but their kids be interested. And even in your local community as well, like depending on where you live, in some parts of the country, there are quite a high percentage of people immigrating to the area who speak English as a second language. And they probably themselves have a good English level because they've probably come with work or something, but maybe their kids are also moving with them, and they're moving to like an English medium school, and they're not going to have like the academic English, for example, they'll need to settle into an English medium school if they've come from a different country where English is not the first language. So I'd start with your contacts first. And then from there, you can grow even just through referrals from your contacts. And sort of slowly build up things on social media, like post valuable content, share some interesting ideas, share some insights into what you're teaching, build up a bit of an audience. But that takes time. So I think these two things are, two strategies that can kind of help.
Yeah, so kind of like growing your like your potential student list organically. So rather than just like spamming people who say, like you know, hi Jennifer, how's it going? Yeah, blah blah blah. You know, just talk about things and then slowly reach out from there. And also potentially that parent or that teacher may not have anything right now, but you're back on the radar. And then once they hear something, you're going to be the person that they contact.
Exactly. And it could just be people, you know, who you don't even think of as being a useful contact, who will reach out to you. Like, I don't know, your local librarian. Let's say you went to the library, you chatted to the librarian, you mentioned, because, you know, you're getting the word out a bit, you mentioned you're offering English classes just as a side, you know, they asked you what you do, you know, what's your job? And then next time you pop in the library, they'll say, oh, we had this family come in who were looking for English textbooks and they were struggling a bit, and actually they wanted a teacher. And you never know, that connections come through the most bizarre contacts you've not really necessarily thought of, but it's authentic, and I think that's the key thing.
Yeah, we've got someone in the chat on the chat said, read with teacher Katie. You only need one good student, and referrals are the cherry on the top.
I saw that one.
Yeah. What Katie, how about referrals? What do you say about that?
I think referrals are really, really powerful. Like, people trust what their friends recommend to them. If you're just searching online for, imagine you yourself are looking for a Spanish teacher, right? And you just search online for Spanish teacher. There'll be thousands of teachers out there that pop up. There'll be big companies, and you think, okay, big legit company, that's more trustworthy maybe. There'll be individuals on platforms like you mentioned, Preply already. So what's going to make you pick an independent teacher? It's going to be a little bit difficult even to find them just through search. Whereas a referral is someone saying, I already take classes with this teacher. They are a fantastic teacher. I really love them. I think you should take classes too. And that is so much more powerful because you've got a person recommending you, and they've got that trust with their friend who's going to recommend them a good teacher. And also, I would say in general, people tend to know people who are similar to them. So for example, if you're targeting, I don't know, university students, they're going to know other university students who also want help with academic English for assignments. Or if you're teaching phonics classes for really young kids, their parents will know other parents, like through mums and dads chat groups, or, you know, their local connections. So referrals are really, really powerful. And there's things you can do to try and promote, encourage referrals, but genuinely the most important thing is just being a good teacher. Like, if you're a great teacher, people will recommend you. And they just need the occasional reminder perhaps to prompt them when you have a bit more time in your schedule you want to fill up.
True, like Brad was saying, it's all about setting yourself and keeping your contacts on WeChat. Well, of course, if you've been in China, for sure. But it's yes. So, and then teachers in China don't know generally how to connect with Chinese parents. Like, that's what I was saying the past live last week. It's just sending moments. WeChat, you get that option, moments. You can even share what you're doing. You know, taking, just let your just use your phone, and well, of course you get to hide your student's face, but you can just let them see what is the result, right? What the kids are doing during the class, how they're speaking, what their oral English level after a month. You know, you got to keep on posting. That's pretty much like social media. It's quite close to that. Am I wrong? Or that would be a best way to do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you already got apps like WeChat and you've used them already, I think, who was it? I mentioned they already had contacts from their company they taught with previously, for example. Absolutely, make the most of those connections. There's so many different social media apps out there. If you've already got a presence on one of them and you already got good connections through one app, then start with that one, definitely. And WeChat in particular, if you're targeting Chinese students, then you kind of have to have WeChat. I don't know how anyone could survive without WeChat in China. Like, it's when I lived in China, I probably spent 2 or 3 hours a day just on WeChat, I swear. I mean, some of that was just procrastinating, looking at people's random videos and stuff, but like, you need it for messaging, you need it for paying for stuff, you need it for literally everything.
Yeah, it's a great app. I just wish people around the world knew about WeChat. It's probably the biggest secret, you know, outside of China. No one knows about WeChat. It's like amazing. It's like leaves WhatsApp in the dust big time. Yeah, it's an amazing app.
Facebook too.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's so cool. It's like kind of Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp all mixed up into one awesome app. What about if you're a teacher, and this is going to be quite difficult to answer, I fear. Let's say you're a teacher and you've never been to China and you don't have WeChat, and you don't know where to start, and you kind of start out with no contacts, and there will be tons of people watching this now and they'll think, yeah, that's me. So what would you suggest?
I would say first think at who your target market is. I'm not don't want to put people off the Chinese market. I think there's a lot of potential teaching Chinese students. I've had some fantastic experiences teaching in China and online, so Chinese kids and adults, like Chinese students in general. There's a lot of potential there. But I'd always think first, like, is it definitely the right market for you before you jump into something? And the reason I say that is because all of the social media platforms are different in China, because they basically blocked all of the foreign ones. Like, you can't get Facebook, you can't get, I'm pretty sure WhatsApp's blocked. I don't know, I've never used it when I was in China. Instagram, TikTok, all of the ones that we're familiar with don't work in China. So if you want to connect with Chinese students, you're going to have to learn new apps. And it's not too complicated. Most of them have got the same basic options as you have on like foreign social media apps, but it just requires setting up and getting familiar with a different system. So firstly, plan, is China the market for you? Is always my first recommendation. If you do want to go ahead and focus on the Chinese market, then have a look at apps that are more like public. So the thing with WeChat, I would say the easiest comparison to WeChat is WhatsApp, because it's a private messaging app primarily. It's got other features too, and there is like WeChat channels and these sort of things, but primarily it's a private messaging app. And if you don't have any contacts, you've got no one to message, so you're kind of stuck, because you need to know their number or their WeChat ID or their QR code to connect, right? So instead, there are other apps, like probably one of the most popular ones that I really recommend is Xiaohongshu, and Xiaohongshu it's called Little Red Book in English. It's kind of like Instagram-ish, with a few sort of Pinterest features. And it's also got this random e-commerce aspect where people can sell stuff through it, that kind of stuff. But it's kind of like Instagram. And the idea is that you can post content, and even if you've got zero connections whatsoever, people can find it, because it's based on an algorithm that's recommending the content to other people. So I would start out by going on an app like Xiaohongshu, posting valuable content that's relevant to your target audience, that's useful, like interesting stuff. Don't post about your classes. Actually, that's not even allowed on Xiaohongshu. You can't directly promote your classes anyway. But don't post clips in your classes, but instead post something like, these are my top 5 tips for improving your vocabulary or something. And that algorithm is going to reach the right people, and gradually your audience will grow.
Great. We got a very good question right here from Cheesecake on the M. Here's the question. As a teacher with experience in the classroom, how do you balance teaching online along with teaching daily classes? What was your teaching schedule at first?
I think this is a big challenge, and it'd be interesting, people in the chat want to let us know if you're classroom teachers, because myself as a classroom teacher, depending on, I've taught in various different environments. In the UK in particular, classroom teaching is pretty intense. So I was working like 70 or 80 hours a week. Like, there'll be obviously actual classes, but also the planning and the marketing and all that stuff, right? So finding the time is firstly one thing. And I would say in that case, just look at your schedule, right? Obviously you'll be in school from probably about 8 until 5 maybe, but you have your school day. But outside that time, think, do you want to get up really early? I know some teachers do that. I'm not a morning person, absolutely not a morning person, let me tell you. But I know some teachers who are based in like the US, because of the time zone difference. If they're teaching kids who are based in Asian countries like China, they're getting up at sort of 3, 4 in the morning, teaching a few hours before work. Then they go to school and teach all day, and then they sleep, I guess, in the afternoon. So like, think about your schedule and where the gaps are that line up with where your target audience is based, and that might actually affect which audience you focus on, because you might decide that 5 a.m. classes are not for you. So if you're in the US, don't teach Chinese kids, teach ones in South America perhaps, who you can teach after school hours instead. But yeah, think about your schedule, where you have gaps, obviously weekends and things like that too. But it's a challenge.
Thank you. Yeah, we had a question as well from Tenetia Wells. Do you recommend your own website when you go independent?
This is an interesting one.
Yes.
I would say if you're first starting out, don't bother with a website.
Yeah.
If you're targeting Chinese students, probably don't need to bother with a website either, because I don't know, my own experience working, like when I was in China, no one used websites. I mean, big companies have a website, but the main point of the website is to stick their WeChat QR code on so you can follow their WeChat official account. Like, they don't use websites to the same extent as we do in, like, I'm in the UK, and the same in the US, I think. You know, websites were a big thing here. So I would start with a social media presence and direct your students to your social media to connect with you, and do that first. If you want to create a website, think about what the purpose of the website is, because a website by itself is not going to generate students. Because if you think about Google search, if you search for English classes on Google, you're not even going to be on page 100 of Google if you've got a brand new website with just your face on it and a contact form. So the website is not going to generate students. You have to direct people to it. So you have to be intentional about how you design the website. And you can use it, for example, you're creating an email list. You could have your website promoting a sort of lead magnet thing, a freebie. You direct people from your social media to your website to sign up to your email list, and then you can promote classes. Or you can have a website that's got like a booking system built into it. People can book and schedule things in that system. I know, so I saw Ivy in the chat earlier from Super Teacher. That's basically what she's built. There's all these things you can do with a website, but when you're first starting out, I wouldn't bother, because it's a lot of work. As someone who maintains a website myself, like with Abridge Academy, obviously, like that website took a hell of a lot of work to build. It takes a lot of time to maintain, and it costs money to have a website too. You know, so I would only create a website when you need it, which is usually the point of scaling your business rather than just starting out.
Yeah, and websites can be quite expensive as well, right? Like, really, like, you could use something like Wix or Squarespace or something like that. Again, it's blocked in China, so you know it's tricky. One thing I would really suggest, because I teach online myself. I do about 3 hours, 4 hours a day, and then once I finish my online teaching, I do my TEFL and stuff. It's what I do. So I've got quite a lot of Chinese students as well. So yeah, I guess I could speak from experience here as well. What I actually did, I went onto Canva. I'm quite good at using Canva now because I did all of my course on Canva. I wrote my books using Canva, so I'm really comfortable with it. But you can, if you don't know how to use Canva, it's cool. You can just teach yourself it. And I made a PDF about my experience, what kind of stuff I can teach. I can teach kids, I can teach IELTS, I can teach business, I can teach exam prep, blah, blah, blah. Got it translated into Chinese because lots of parents, they don't speak, or you know, they struggle with English, right? So I got a friend to do that, made this really slick looking PDF, and then sent it to contacts, and then they can share that. And it's got the QR code in it. People can add my WeChat, I can talk to them, and I can like organically build my student base doing that. I come up with a really cool schedule as well, which is quite a clever schedule, and people can buy blocks. And I just filled up my week basically really quickly, and then I didn't have to charge $5 per hour or anything. I just had my own students. When a parent drops out, you know, because they drop out, right, someone comes in to replace them. So yeah, that's how I did mine. And it's basically just all through Canva, through my phone, not using websites at all, and just word of mouth and hard work basically, and thinking outside the box a little bit as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I love the idea of just creating things on Canva, because it's so professional. Like, if anyone here's used Canva, it's great because it has all these professional looking templates. It looks beautiful and it's so easy to use, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the premium one is like $12 a month or something. It's really worth it. A lot of these monthly things just not worth it, but Canva is. It's a really cheap price, and you can get some really cool stuff. Like I say, you've got your templates there. You can make thumbnails as well. It's just, it's really cool. I really suggest that to anyone watching this who wants to start their own online teaching business.
Yeah,
We got a
definitely.
question right now. Good question. We're talking about money as well. If you've never been in China and want to start online teaching with Chinese, the very first thing, you need to find a way to accept payment and transfer your earned money outside of China. Of course. Thank you, Camille.
Yeah. This is a big challenge a lot of teachers struggle with, and actually it's quite easy to solve. But I think when you're first starting out teaching independently, and if you're working with Chinese students, it's quite easy when you're working with students in most other countries, because in most other countries, all of our standard payment systems work and they're familiar with like paying with card for stuff. Something I found, like when I lived in China, I probably only ever use my bank card to withdraw cash from the ATM once every few months, and then that's it. Like literally everything is done on WeChat Pay, and it's really hard to explain this to people who don't live in China. But like I would just walk out with my phone, okay, and I'd wander along, and I get on the bus and scan, okay, and I want to buy some snacks, scan the QR code. Want to do my weekly shopping, scan the QR code, supermarket. So that's what they're used to. They're not used to putting a credit card into a website to pay for stuff, and also because of the money regulations in China, it's not very easy to send money abroad. Like it's just complicated.
Really?
Yeah.
Like you spend all day in the bank, all day sitting in the bank, all day.
Yeah.
Filling out forms. It's a nightmare.
And even like the smallest amount, I remember one time I was just walking across the border into Hong Kong, right? And I wanted to change, it was like 200 RMB or something, like $20-ish. That I just needed to pay for I hadn't got any Hong Kong dollars, so I had to pay for the train the other end, you know? And so I went into the bank and I was like, I just need to change this 200 yuan into Hong Kong dollars. And they said, okay, sure, here's a form and here's another form. And it took me 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
To change 20 quid.
Yeah. It's so inefficient. Yeah. And I guess a lot of the people watching this, they won't understand the WeChat thing. So like you say, Katie, everything's on your phone. If you buy vegetables, you scan a code. If someone sends you money, they can send it to you in WeChat. It goes onto your WeChat balance. You can accrue that, and then you can send it to someone else. It's this online, like an intranet just for China. So if you have Chinese students and the parents go, right, what's your WeChat? And you're like, you live in South Africa. How do you get that into Rand? Do you know what I mean?
First thing, do not accept the payment through WeChat directly. I've seen a few teachers do this, and you get stuck in like your WeChat wallet. If you are not in China, you can't withdraw the money out of your WeChat wallet. And it's fine if you live in China, because you can just transfer it to your Chinese bank card. And I've still got my Chinese bank card, and I can withdraw money from my WeChat to my Chinese bank and then like take it to an ATM and pay some ridiculous ATM fee and withdraw it here in the UK if I wanted to. But obviously that's not an option for most people. I would say there's a few different options. Firstly, if you live in a country like the UK, the US, and a few other countries where Stripe is available, Stripe is probably the easiest option. It's spelled STRIPE, if anyone wants to search Stripe. That's really convenient. You can create a sort of account, and then you can send invoices. The invoices get sent via email, but as long as you remind the parent to check their email, they'll get it. And then they had to scan a QR code, and it integrates with WeChat Pay. So the parent scans the WeChat QR code, and also has the Alipay option, which is another popular payment method in China. And then the money goes in Stripe, and then it gets sent from Stripe to your bank account. So you don't need WeChat for this yourself. I mean, you might want it to message them, but you don't need your own WeChat Pay or Alipay account. But the parent pays by WeChat or Alipay, and it just converts it into your currency and sends it to your local bank account. That's Stripe. If you live in South Africa, and there's a few other countries as well, Stripe is not available in South Africa and several other places. In which case you can there's a few other things that are similar to Stripe, for example, Nihao Pay, but a lot of them require a formal business registration. So it's fine if you have a big limited company, you've registered a company, but most teachers don't do that. Another one that's really popular that I really recommend is Super Teacher. I think I saw Ivy in the chat earlier from Super Teacher. Ivy, say hi. Super Teacher is great. It was created by a teacher called Ivy, she was an independent teacher, and she wanted to create a whole system that had payments and bookings and stuff integrated. And the great thing about Super Teacher is that parents can still pay via WeChat Pay and Alipay, but it transfers it to you via your chosen payment method. So they process the payment, and then it gets cashed out into your Wise accounts, or I can't remember if she supports PayPal or not, because I've not checked that. But if you have Stripe, it can link to Stripe, or it can link to your Wise account and possibly PayPal or something. I'm not too sure. But that processes the payment on your behalf, and then those are available in basically every country. And it links to the booking as well, which saves a lot of time, because then once they've bought a certain number of class credits, then they can book the classes on a booking calendar, which means you don't have to create a website. You can just use the Super Teacher platform as your website. Yeah, that's what I recommend.
Great. Yeah. Yeah, someone was saying Chinese name. Well, I'm not sure yet. Well, I'm not good at. Yeah, can you
Traditional
read that name?
characters. No, what is that?
Yeah, maybe
Mhm.
Taiwan Bitcoin. Maybe you can. Well, using this is not very safe. I think maybe should not should be
I'm
a
a
little
bit
bit.
nervous of
Uh,
Bitcoin.
yeah, I think everyone is with that one. It's a little bit scary for sure. Yeah, some people were asking as well, Alipay, is it possible? Yeah, that's true. You got Union Pay that now I remember when I went back home in 2018 with a Chinese card, you can go to some certain bank and go to the ATM and get that money. I'm wondering now it should be even more advanced. But all, of course, all depend on the country we are in, because China, uh, it's maybe different, right? Okay,
I think
he's saying
UnionPay is only
safe
good if
to
you
me.
have a Chinese bank card yourself, though.
Yes,
UnionPay is their
exactly.
equivalent of Visa or MasterCard or whatever. It's just a type of bank card.
Here we got Anthony Scott. Hey, Kathy, big fan. Done a lot of your training, especially the ones around students. Leads the one with 小红书. However, not much luck. Uh, do you recommend any other alternatives? Example, maybe Facebook ads and stuff.
I think it's totally okay if it's not working out for you to make that decision to go to a different platform, because sometimes Xiaohongshu isn't always the right app. Particularly if you're
Yes.
focusing on, say, business professionals or something, or like they might not even be on Xiaohongshu in the first place. But so yeah, there's loads of different social media apps. First thing I always say is think about who your audience is. Right? If you're targeting business professionals, look on LinkedIn. If you're targeting mums, like if you're teaching young kids, then you're targeting their parents. They're probably on something like Facebook. If you're targeting university students, apparently Facebook isn't the thing anymore, and they're all on TikTok. Right? So like, have a look at who your target audience is and research what social media app they're on, and that's obviously going to be country specific as well. Like I know in Korea, there's one called like Kakao Chat or something. There's a few different ones in different places. When I lived in Japan, Line was really popular, as well as Twitter, bizarrely. So figure out what social media app is relevant to your target audience, then go on there. And the same things as are in the Xiaohongshu training about posting valuable content, the same basic concepts can be applied to pretty much any social media app. Post valuable stuff, build an audience, encourage them to reach out to you and connect, and then you offer classes.
Great. Thank
Just
you
a point
very
about
much.
Facebook ads, though. I wouldn't do any paid advertising until you've like tested things first with organic marketing, because I've spent a lot of money on Facebook ads in the past when I first set up Abridge Academy, and I wasted a lot of money. I didn't get any leads from it because the ads weren't designed well, and I hadn't designed a funnel that converts people from a social media post into a paying customer. You have to design that and test it and optimize that
And
before
who
you.
your target, who
Yeah.
you're targeted, because we're talking here about one country, which is only China, but there are tons of other countries. China has 50 millions of people who's going online for learning English. We got USA who's got 10 millions. We got a lot of other countries that are growing. The number is growing consistently. So it's definitely a place where you should be, right? I mean, if you are an online teacher, for you, it's easy. Just go for it. But that's it. On Chinese market, that's pretty much, we know that we get apps for that. Many people maybe are asking as well for other markets like South America or maybe North, not that much, but still in some places. How do act for, because I'm sure your students are not all Chinese, are they?
No, absolutely. And I think it's actually quite a good idea. Even if you do have a lot of Chinese students, it's good to diversify and have students from other countries too, just in case China does some great, like, let's be honest, China occasionally does some interesting new rules and regulations come out. Who knows? Maybe tomorrow the whole thing gets shut down, like they close all international payments or something. I'm always a bit wary of some of those things that can happen. And the same for any country, right? If you look at, obviously there's been issues, for example, with Russia, which is also a big ESL market. And with the war and stuff, there's been a lot of sanctions against Russia. So if you were teaching Russian students, that's not a thing anymore because of all the payment platforms block the payments. And let's not even get into the sort of moral and other kind of issues around all these sort of things. So it's always good to diversify and have students in a range of places. Also helps with different time zones because then you can teach different times of day. I would say, kind of what I was saying before though, just find the apps where they are, post valuable content, connect with them. And when it comes to things like Facebook, don't just go into like teacher Facebook groups. Go into Facebook groups for English learners and post content in your students' target language. Sorry, in your students' native language, teaching them how to learn English, because they're not going to be searching in English for stuff. If I think about, for example, my own language learning, when I was learning Chinese, when I first started out learning Chinese, I was like 13 or 14. Okay, I was still a teenager. And I would search for things in English because my Chinese level was like HSK 1. Okay, I could barely write a sentence. So I'm not going to be searching in Chinese for how do I use the different kinds of de for like grammatical particles in Chinese or something. I'm not going to search that in Chinese. I don't even know how to phrase a sentence. So they're going to search in their native language. And even now, like I passed HSK 5 a few years back. And like I can understand things written in Chinese. I can read things in Chinese. I watch things in Chinese. But even now, if I want to look at a grammar explanation, I'll search in English first because I'm a bit lazy. So yeah. Oh, Stuart, I think you're muted.
Stu?
My audio messed up. What's happened there?
Oops. I can hear you.
You're on mute.
Okay, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I pressed the button.
Okay.
What I was saying is basically I'm HSK 4, and even HSK 5 is really, it just goes up like that. It's a really far past HSK 4. And I would still look in English. I would look for info in English. I think even if I was HSK 6, I'd probably still do the same. That's a great tip, Katie, actually. Like, yeah, just translate it and then just do that. Awesome tip, like it.
And like, even if you don't know the language, ideally you would know the language your students you're targeting, right? Ideally, if you speak Spanish, you target Spanish-speaking students, it makes sense. But let's say you don't know any foreign languages, it's fine because there's these amazing like world of translation apps out there that can, Google Translate's not that bad, really. It does a fine job. There's DeepL, which is a slightly better kind of Google Translate equivalent. Loads of different things. And there's even ones that translate videos for you. You can get stuff that does like audio, like it will even replace your voice with like a different language and speak on your behalf, or at least put subtitles and things like that. There's all these tools out there now.
Yeah, I'm going to put that into the chat actually. Yeah.
The market in Ukraine is really growing. What is saying, Peter? Thanks, everyone. A lot of people are chatting, asking questions. A lot of I love to find a good online English teacher, but doesn't know how to. I mean, South Korea. Yes, it's always a big issue. Teaching online is really, it's not that easy. Even for me, I've always been teaching in the classroom. And when it comes to, I'm very active with a lot of, actions. And then you got to minimize, usually you can do big actions, but then you got to be like smallest, like listen, or, like a lot of stuff that I'm not used to. Well, I it's just a matter of practicing, I think, and then you're gonna find the ways. And I think you when you have um, the good teacher who teaches you how to teach online, you can make improvements really, really fast.
You know
And
what, Mike?
Katie, yeah, tell me, bro.
Yeah, so basically there's a really good webinar out. It's about
Oh,
18 months old now. A guy called Jake Whidden, good friend of mine, and he did a webinar of how to engage. He's done a series, like a 2 or 3
okay.
series of how to teach online, and it's about an hour long. And I suggest everybody to watch it, because it will make because as you say, it's different being classroom teachers and online.
Is that the link you put in?
Yeah, I'll search for it now. Really.
Oh, okay. I thought that was this one.
I will search for it now. But yeah, carry on without me. I'll search the link now. But everybody, check it out. It's How to Teach Online.
What's his name?
Jake Whidden.
Jake.
Whidden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll put that into the chat box now.
Yeah, you can put the name.
Yeah.
That would be. Yeah, that's what was asking Charlene. Oh yeah. I missed the other topic about how to have an engaging online class. Yeah, that was topic of last week. Yes. Well, I'm sure Kathy can say 2-3 words about it, because Kathy has a very great website which helps you step by step into your own. As an entrepreneur, you start to work online with your own. You want to do your own online classes. You're sorry, looking for my words. It's called A Bridge Academy, right?
Yes, yeah. So with Abridge
And
Academy,
you get free curriculum. Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a free tier as well that people can use to try out the curriculum. So yeah, if you're looking for interactive and engaging teaching materials, like we say, I think the big challenge with teaching online, and I see a lot of teachers using like PDF textbooks and things, you kind of screen share a textbook, but particularly if you're teaching kids, that they need them things they can do. Like just looking at something on the screen, even just annotating on a PDF, it's not really giving them that level of engagement that they need to really engage. Sorry, use the word engage about 10 times that sentence, but you know what I mean, they're not getting the same level of engagement when they're looking at a PDF textbook. And of course, there's lots you can do as a teacher to be more dynamic and things, but you want them to actually be able to interact directly with the materials. So Abridge Academy offers interactive and engaging teaching materials for online teachers. There's a step-by-step core curriculum, which kind of replaces the basic concept of a textbook, where you have lessons that build on each other and follow a set sort of series. So that's the core curriculum. And there's also the expansion courses, which cover sort of more specialist topics. Some of them focus on really specific English skills like grammar or reading skills. There's like a debating program, which is super popular. That's great for like advanced speaking skills, things like that. So you've got all of these different materials that teachers can use, and got a lot of wonderful feedback from teachers because everything's so much more engaging. It's designed for kids to click on things. They can move things on the screen. They can type in the boxes and fill out little quizzes as they go. There's all of this interactivity built in. So yeah, a lot more engaging, hopefully, than just a textbook.
Yeah, it's awesome. It can be so difficult to, like you say, engage students because it's very static. The students just staring at a screen, and it's really hard to, it's really easy to switch off. So by having something engaging like that, and they're actually engaging the learner, it's so important. And the student experience is so important, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that can, if they're younger learners, they can turn around to their mum or dad and go, I love Katie, and I love her classes, and I want to continue. And that's going to help word of mouth. It's going to assist you. So yeah, everybody, check out Abridge Academy.
Thank you. Yeah. And I also say that saves teachers a lot of time. Like for me, myself as a teacher, each of the lessons for Abridge Academy takes like at least a day to make. And I know that if you're just making them yourself, you probably don't need the same level of interactivity and stuff that are built in. Like teachers don't necessarily do that. But even if you're just doing it for yourself, like a quick PowerPoint, it could take you hours to plan one lesson. So we've got everything provided for you: the slides, lesson workbooks that kids can print out for homework activities, flashcards, lesson previews, all of that there. So.
And that's multi-level, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out for myself, I think.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and that's what we all gonna do. It's fantastic to always learn, always meet teachers that we can, share experience, and you always learn something new. That's great. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. I'm just gonna check out in the chat if someone. So you just send the link, Stu.
Yeah, that's it.
In the chat.
Yeah, that's well worth, and that's not that's just literally tips of how to engage students. So I mean, you can have your own textbooks, you could have material from Abridge, and that link that I've sent there is basically how to teach online. Really good tips, actually.
That's fantastic. I think a lot of teachers sometimes get into the mode of, oh, I've done a TEFL course, like that's it, I'm done. But like always doing a bit of professional development and watching those sort of videos and top tips from teachers, particularly if you're moving from like classroom teaching to online, super useful.
Yeah, because actually what that was about, Jake's mate, one of our mutual friends, he did a master's in TESOL, and his dissertation was online strategies for teaching. So he did comprehensive research for his dissertation, and the research that he found of how to engage online learners informs that webinar. So it's research informed as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, I guess some people are arriving on the live, and we had that big long message. Thank you so much to Maria Alejandra. Muchísimas gracias. Hello, greetings from Argentina, and nice to see all of you. I love the teaching online, but drawback is always which payment method. And we were talking about so her question is pretty much as regards our European payment method or South America, it would be Stripe. Yeah.
I'm not
Like
sure
that's
it's
what you
available though
recommend.
if you're in Argentina. You'd have to check.
Yes, exactly. Or
Yeah.
PayPal, maybe. PayPal.
Yeah, I'd say Stripe, if you can, is the best option. PayPal is fine, but like the fees are kind of high. I personally would say Superteacher is a good one. Superteacher.net, not .com. But if you go to Superteacher, Superteacher works in basically all countries except for like a few ones like Russia and North Korea that are sanctioned or whatever. But every other country, Superteacher works for. So that would definitely work. But yeah, I don't think Stripe's available in Argentina.
I know that there are agencies and companies in China, and they will kind of be like the middlemen. So they will take the payment and then like hold it for like a couple of days and then release it to countries in South America or whatever, and they charge like 0.7% of the transactions. It's 100 renminbi or something. They'll charge a very nominal fee, and that works as well.
Yeah, I've seen some teachers in like the Philippines in particular. It's another one of those countries that's really hard to get payments into the Philippines. I've seen them mention like Gcash, and someone doing something with Taobao to Gcash, some kind of payment thing that teachers are talking about.
Yeah.
How about Apple
Pay, maybe?
Apple Pay? No, maybe.
Maybe. I've never tried. I don't have an iPhone,
Yeah.
so maybe.
Yeah, me too. I'm not a fan of Apple, so except for the fruit. Um, that's a bad joke. All right. Good. So thank you very much. I can see if you guys got any more question, is the time. We're not gonna retain Ketty for too long. It's Sunday morning for her. You are in Britain, right,
Yes.
Ketty? Just to make sure.
Yeah, so it's early afternoon actually in the UK.
Okay, great. All right. So you guys are in UK. I'm the only one in China. So it's all good. But that's how technology can be super cool, huh? Online teaching, sharing teaching tips together. Hope you guys get the live. Don't forget to give some likes and subscribe to the channel, and as well go check out a Bridge Academy. She's got a free curriculum. What is this free curriculum? Can you tell us a little bit more about this? Because
Yeah, sure. So there's actually like different tiers of membership, but the free tier gives you like a taster or across all of the different levels and courses and things that are available. So it's a good way if you're just starting out, and also like if you're just starting out, for example, you don't want to pay for anything yet, right? Because I was
Yeah.
a big fan of
You
keeping
want
things
to have a
minimal.
test, a taste.
Exactly, test it out, and like you can
Yeah.
use the free lessons like as trial lessons with your students. Check your students are happy with stuff. You get access to the promotional materials, like the things you can send to parents, the information on the curriculum, and if they're all happy with it, then you can always upgrade later. So yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for joining today. That was a great pleasure. And it's going to be time to say goodbye. An hour just like flew away that quickly.
Yeah.
Life
Really good. Thank
so
you
so
so much for
fast.
having me.
And really
And
useful as well. Like all of your tips and everything. This is something teachers can actually use and make their their hard teaching get rewarded as it deserves. Because so many online teachers are struggling, but as we've learned today, we don't have to. There's certain, we can there's ways out of our woe.
Yes, definitely. And I think it's
exactly.
always worth, like, even if you're teaching with a company, you just want to start building up your independent. Words. Talking too much today. You want to just build up your independent teaching on the side. Like,
Yeah,
start
you can
working
do
on
both,
it.
right? You don't have to really, go all chips in and drop the online company. You can do it and then get to a stage where it's working, and then you can,
True.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
buy the nest.
Balance everything. Exactly. Thank you so much. That was a great pleasure to have you with us today, Ketty. We hope I hope to see you again on the ESL live stream. You will be very welcome to share your expertise with all the teachers, and I hope has been helping you as well in the chat. We're live on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I hope you guys just let us know in the comment, even if you're watching the replay. Thank you for watching, and just feel free to comment, ask your question. We always check the messages that you left. Thank you so much again, Getty, and I'll see you in another live, hopefully.
Well, thank you. Yeah, thanks
All
so much.
right. Okay. Very welcome. Cheers. Two.
How cool was that?
Still here.
Yeah,
That was
how
really
cool was
nice.
that?
Yeah. Thank you so
So,
much.
yeah, no problem at all. It was like that. I think, just being objective, like, not being a host, if I was a teacher on this live stream, that could be a real game changer for your career and how you do things, and how, life changing really, if this is your career, how to break away from these companies and, really get on your own feet with what we do.
Exactly. I'm going to think about going teaching online.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be. I'm gonna get too busy. No, I'm not. Well, when it was COVID, of course, we had no choices than going online. So then I had a little experience at the beginning. I was quite struggling, but it was interesting in a way that challenges.
Mm.
I love that. When something, but the situation, no, I didn't like it because that was something quite difficult. Yes, you can find the link if you click. For example, we have QR codes like that. Remember, A Bridge Academy, free curriculum. You can watch the live in replay and you can just screenshot, on your phone. Whatever the phone you get, you screenshot very easily, and then you can scan after that, and yes, so that you can got the link right away. Usually the links should be in the live, but apparently I don't know, live stream. Restream is not putting the link into the live, maybe because it's spam a little bit when you put it on the screen and then it goes on the chat as well. It's a little bit too much spams in the too much maybe messages into the live. Okay, thanks, very welcome. So Stu as well, uh, the 50-hour free 50 hours TEFL course is still on
Absolutely. In fact,
forever, you said, right?
yeah,
I can't believe it.
yeah. So Aki Rubeda, she's one of the students on the 50-hour course. So thank you for coming along. Yeah, nearly 2,000 students at the moment. So it's been like, yeah.
Shout out to all the students then.
Yeah, so it's gone really, really well. And a bit later on, there's going to be a free draw. All the people that have finished, one person's going to win a full course. So, yeah,
Oh, wow.
looking forward to that.
So when you finish like first, the first to finish, you're gonna have the full course free.
No, so tons of people finished already. It's only 5
Okay.
modules on the course. So anyone who's finished and they've emailed me their certificate of completion, they enter the draw to win the full course. So I'm
Draw. Okay.
in about 2 hours. So yeah, very, very cool. And Tatiana also took the course that's in the chat box as well.
Okay, great, Tatiana. Big shout out to you. Thank you so much, everyone, on Facebook and on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. That's crazy technology, how we can work on it. I can see all messages from all these platforms, except TikTok, because on TikTok is different, but I can see, and Instagram as well. I can see only 3 platforms: LinkedIn and YouTube and Facebook. Right. And you get Ketsy saying, oops, left. Haha. Thank you so much for having me. But it's okay. You have the link. You can come back again if we want to chat, a little debriefing after the live is always good. Thank you so much, Stu. That was awesome for today. Hope to see you next week in another ESL live stream. I think online teaching is quite a hot topic these days. And a lot of people were worried about how is it doing in China. And yes, she's here. She's back. Okay, we're going to have a little talk. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. Uh, we're going back to normal in China, just to let everybody know a little bit how's the market. It's with new policies, so it's taking time, but it's reopening slowly with new policies and new rules that I'm not really aware of it. But now, if you have a training center, it's all good. It's all back to normal right now. So nothing to worry. Thank you so much, all of you, Tatiana, all the guys into the live, and thank you so much to you as well, Stu, for being here and always sharing your expertise. Thank you so much.
No problem at all. See you next week.
See you next week. Hey DJ, it's time to put the the song on. Cheers, man. See you, everyone. Remember, every Sundays, 9 p.m. Beijing time, the ESL live stream, the teacher's live stream. Cheers. Bye bye, everyone.